Le presento la segunda parte de la entrevista que le hice a Richard Gringras, vicepresidente de Google News. Speaking about transcribing, I started working when it took you about 5 hours to transcribe 1 hour of an interview. When will it be a reality that this will be done instantly, do you think?
It's very, I don't have a precise estimate, but I would say this is within the next few years. Machine learning, I don't like the term artificial intelligence. It's not really artificial intelligence. Machine learning is really simply this, can high-powered machines look at massive amounts of examples to do a better job of assessing those examples and doing the right thing. Transcription. We several years ago in the United States offered a free 411 directory service. The real reason we did that was we wanted many examples of people saying words in different ways, phonemes, right? So how could we build that database to do a better job of doing, for instance, voice control, right? You can now use your phone to say, give me the definition of this word, and it understands your words and comes back with the answer. So it's getting extremely good today, and all we need is more data to continue to do it well. It's like what we're doing in cancer research. We now have systems that can better analyze imaging out of resonance imaging systems.
Plagiarism is another issue for journalists today. What can the initiative, or what can be done from your perspective on this issue?
Well, first of all, it's determining when is plagiarism happening, and then if it is happening, how do you address it in the legal environment, right? And it is the legal environment, right? I mean, we do our best to try to make it easier for people to find the instances of plagiarism, but it is ultimately a legal issue. It's not a Google issue, it's a legal issue. So if someone is inappropriately copying your content for their own personal financial gain, obviously you want to take them to court. You want to challenge what they're doing. So our role, as we do with YouTube, for instance, is help identify the instances of copying. It's particularly easy in video. It's much harder in text. Because often, unless the plagiarism is large blocks of copy, often it's a little bit more sophisticated than that.
And finally, the big issue of fake news. We're in the final days of an election in Mexico, and there has been instances of fake news during this election. How much of the initiative is dedicated to try to stop fake news from making people decide their vote, for example?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously extraordinarily important to us. Just to be very specific, I mean, as I often say, yes, we have very successful businesses. Billions of people use Google search every day, and they will continue to use it to the extent that they trust us to do the right thing. So we need to do the right thing. But specifically to what you're talking about here, we for several years now have been mounting efforts in various countries to help identify fake content as early as possible. So here, for instance, in Mexico, we worked with the assembly of an organization called Verificado. Verificado is working with 60 news organizations around Mexico to help identify this material, to either make sure that we know about it early, so for instance that we don't surface it, but if it does propagate, such that those news organizations can help point out to people that it is indeed misrepresentative information.
Are you of the idea that fake news determined the result of the last presidential election in the United States?
I don't know. I mean, it's certainly, it's a very hard question to answer. Obviously, a lot of people looking at it. It's hard for me not to think that it did have some effect. We have to be careful because often what we see as fake news is not illegal expression. It is misrepresentative expression. It is misinformation and disinformation, which is hugely dangerous. So yeah, it's important for us to figure these things out such that we can lessen the impact. Certainly among the things that we're doing at Google, not surprisingly, we have massive security capabilities. And part of those security capabilities are, can we ferret out, for instance, the fake botnets? Look, fake news has been with us throughout civilization. You know, in the United States, we can go back to the Jeffersonian times, and when journalism wasn't what we call journalism today, there was a tremendous amount of fake content looking to damage others in the electoral environment. Obviously, we live in a world today where, in a sense, it's all the same. What is different, meaning that people are always looking to, in a sense, generate propaganda, influence people's thinking. Clearly, the dynamic in the world of the internet is that it's so much easier and faster for this information to be made available, to be made viral, to propagate.
And finally, part of the experience of social media is people getting together with other people that have a similar points of view, and forgetting other points of view, but more importantly, forgetting the truth or seeking the truth. How much is this a dilemma for journalism in a digital age?
I think it's a big challenge. And, you know, and when we look at the world of journalism, you know, it's also, I think, appropriate and fair to recognize that the world of journalism involves many different approaches. And we're all subject to this. Address our own inclinations to prefer our views be affirmed than not, right? Affirmation versus information. And each and every one of us, we can, if we dig deep and look at our own experiences, we will find ourselves falling victim to affirmation. It's what we believed, it's what we want to hear reinforced. It may not be factual. So yeah, these are challenges for our society, for every dimension of our society, be it a tech company like Google, be it institutions of journalism, be it institutions of government, to evolve how we address these overall challenges of a changing society and a changing world.
In a race between affirmation and information, who is winning right now?
Well, you can go back to, I think it was Mark Twain, but who knows, that might be an incorrect attribution, as I often find these days. Someone said, I think it was Mark Twain, that a lie can get around the world before the truth can get its pants on, right? And I think that's true. It's easier, you know, as one of my associates said, he said, it's easier and cheaper to create fake content than to create true journalism.
And that's a challenge.
That's the challenge. And so, you know, again, we have to address at every dimension.
And do you think our education system in different countries are aware of that challenge, to educate the young to be able to differentiate between a partisan view and a true hard fact?
I don't think it's recognized as fully as it needs to be. I don't think we're acting on it as aggressively as it needs to be acted upon, just in generalities. It is our responsibility as well to help people understand what they're seeing. You know, people come to Google with simple questions all the time. You know, you ask us, the temperature will tell you. You ask us, you know, how tall is Theresa May in the United Kingdom? We'll tell you 5 feet 9 inches tall. But on many issues, it's more complex. And I think it's our job, our philosophy is, how do we give our users the tools and information they need to develop their own critical thinking and hopefully come away with a more informed conclusion, helping people understand how to think about an issue, not what to think about an issue.
Richard Gringras, thank you very much.
I thank you.